The fallout continues after Bill Cosby was released from prison yesterday after his sex assault conviction was overturned due to a technicality. Cosby returned to his home outside of Philadelphia in the afternoon following a ruling by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Lindsay Davis has been covering the story from the start. She has the latest.
This morning, Bill Cosby is officially a free man, following a ruling by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturning his conviction for sexual assault. The comedian telling me in a phone conversation about his disappointment with some of the coverage.
Nobody had the sense to say, wait 1 second, this doesn't match up with the truth. This is not what I was taught in college. This is not what I was taught at home.
Cosby then came out with a statement maintaining his innocence, thanking fans, supporters, and friends. The 83-year-old now back at home, flashing a peace sign to the cameras.
What we saw today was justice.
The legendary comedian previously found guilty and sentenced to prison in 2018, accused of drugging and sexually assaulting Temple University employee Andrea Constand. But the Pennsylvania Supreme Court reversing that decision Wednesday because of an agreement his legal team had struck with a former prosecutor that he would not be charged if he agreed to testify in a 2005 civil suit brought by Constand. The court says Cosby will not be retried on the same charges, and that decision is, of course, sparking reaction on both sides. Felicia Rashad, who portrayed his television wife Claire Huxtable, celebrating the news, writing on Instagram, "Finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is being corrected." While Cosby always maintained his innocence, he was dogged by accusations of drugging and sexually assaulting dozens of women, which he has also denied. Now, for many of Cosby's accusers, anger and frustration. Constand releasing a statement calling the decision disappointing and saying it may discourage those who seek justice for sexual assault in the criminal justice system. That sentiment is shared by Lisa Lott Lublin, who testified against Cosby, accusing him of drugging and sexually assaulting her in 1989.
He cannot take back his lifestyle that he had previously of being this America's dad. That is gone forever.
One legal analyst that we spoke to put it this way. She said that sometimes legal law and moral law don't always coincide. The Cosby district attorney released a statement saying that Cosby is free on a procedural issue that is irrelevant to the facts of the crime. Deirdre?
Lindsay Davis, thank you very much. Joining us now for more on this is the host and legal analyst at Law and Crime Network, Terry Austin. Terry, thanks so much for lending us your expertise. How is this all happening on a technicality?
Well, it's a procedural decision here. It's not a substance decision. But I do think that it was the right decision, not the right result, though. So the conviction was vacated because they actually used the poison fruit from that tree that they should not have gotten. So in other words, they used the testimony that Bill Cosby made at this deposition when, in fact, he was promised it would not be used against him. So he gave up his Fifth Amendment right. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said that was a violation of due process. So that was the right decision. I think, though, that the dissent got the result and the remedy right, because what the Supreme Court could have done here was to say, vacate the decision, don't use the fruit from the poison tree, but allow the claim to be brought again. What they essentially did is to say forever, this claim cannot be brought against Bill Cosby. And that really isn't the intention of a prosecutorial agreement. It should be just for the agreement between that prosecutor and that defendant, not forever. It's not a pardon. So I think the court was partially right and partially wrong.
Okay, partially right, partially wrong. Were you surprised that he was let out of prison?
Well, with the decision to vacate the conviction, that would be the next step for him to get out of prison. And so I think that was correct, that he had already served 3 of the 10 years. And in fact, he was denied parole very recently because he failed to go to a sexual assault program. But the court just decided, obviously, that it was a wrong conviction, that the charges should never have been brought, Deirdre. That's essentially what they said, that the case should never have been brought. They didn't say that the jury came to the wrong wrong decision from a substance standpoint. They said from a procedural standpoint, the charges should not have been brought, and so therefore Bill Cosby should be let out of jail.
So, Terry, what about the future of this case? I mean, can it be appealed? What are the next most logical steps?
The next logical step would be an appeal to the Supreme Court. I don't think that that will occur. I don't think the prosecution is going to try to get that remedy. And I don't think that the Supreme Court of the United States is going to take up this case. It's a criminal matter. It's something I think that the Supreme Court justices will decide is better left with the state to determine how it should be resolved. So I don't think that we'll see anything further, at least as far as the prosecution is concerned. I do think that the other victims might try to bring cases if they're not time barred.
Okay, so that was my next question. And speaking of next steps, there's Andrea Constant. There is another woman singular with claims against Bill Cosby, and then numerous others, but they have been beyond the statute of limitations. So what are their choices collectively?
You know, I think the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, which assists individuals in terms of bringing cases against people who have victimized them, I think those cases will proceed. Andrea Constant, her case went forward because she wasn't time barred. There was no statute of limitations. Many of the other cases have been time barred. But if, in fact, there is a case against Bill Cosby or anyone else for that matter, and it's not time barred, the statute hasn't run, they will be able to bring their cases. One other thing I'll mention is I think from a prosecution standpoint, those prosecutors will have to think carefully about which cases they bring on behalf of the victims and what the evidence shows, just to make sure that at the end of the day, they have a conviction.
Terry, thank you. Terry Austin with us there.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.